Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 7 of the anime series, Fune or The Great Passage. And this was such a sweet and beautiful episode. The entire relationship going on between Majime and Nishioka, it comes to a head, as far as I'm concerned, because people are finally being vocal about how they are around each other. Mr. Matsumoto basically echoes my sentiments in the last couple, episode discussion videos that I've uploaded, talking about how they really have a mutual respect and admiration for each other. They trust each other, and they have things about themselves that inspire each other. And, Nishioka, I love the focus his character is getting in the series because it was largely unexpected. Every time we have an episode almost largely, dedicated to him, his life, his girlfriend, what he does when he goes home, the idea that they don't want to be seen even out in public together. He asks her to walk so many feet ahead of him, and, she's bringing up restaurants to go to, which later on in the episode when, things are finally kind of going his way again, he feels really good about himself, and he goes ahead and texts his girlfriend to say, meet me there later. Who cares if we're seen? Who cares at this point anymore? Because he feels like, so refreshed about his life. All of the sort of worry and concern over having to move to the PR department, be taken out of this great passage, dictionary creation and publication part of the business, it's no longer really concerning him anymore. He goes in and talks to Mr. Oda, and after this guy has sent all of his manuscript over, and it has to be heavily revised because the guy's putting in a lot of his own personal opinions and his thoughts on things. He's trying to be all poetic and all this kind of stuff, which, you do need to have a personality with a dictionary, make words and their meanings memorable. And also the adaptability over time, what words come to mean over time. Sometimes those things change, over time. Sometimes interpretations, sometimes the actual definitions of words, the way they are used changes. Why do you think the Urban Dictionary exists? There are words that are used therein which have a completely different meaning from the actual legitimate uses of those words and all that kind of stuff. It's the beauty of language, the poetry in motion of dialogue. And, even in spite of that, does he have to go in and say, look, I'm going to be moving, this guy calls him on it really, I'm going to be moving departments and you're going to be working with Majime from now on, and he wants to wipe his hands completely of it. And Nishioka, for his worth, he almost goes down on one knee in a sort of pleading fashion when this guy who is so pompous and full of himself tries to bend Nishioka to his will, but then he flashes back to all of the good vibes he's had, to all of the experiences he's been having with Majime, with the rest of the team, with Mr. Matsumoto and everything like that. And it just overwhelms him with positivity. And then he flips the table on this Oda guy saying, oh, what about your mistress? She's that much younger than you, and her grades are good, and she makes a good meal for her young age, and all this kind of stuff. And you think this guy isn't going to bite. But at one point or another in the course of the dialogue, Nishioka hits too close to home, almost hitting the nail on the head. And this guy all he can do is but shut the hell up and take what Nishioka's dishing to him, because Nishioka's got him by the cojones at that point. And this is what boosts his confidence. This is what really puts it over the top for him to feel like, you know what? Life is too short. Things are good, and I need to enjoy those things. It's such a sweet moment. We have two dual sweet moments in this episode, I feel. The first one being with Nishioka and his girlfriend. They're talking about Majime having a girlfriend now, or maybe it's his first girlfriend. He'll finally lose that virginity that's so plaguing him and everything, as Nishioka puts it. His girlfriend wants to know what Majime's girlfriend looks like, and, she's got her stuff together. She's really beautiful. And, for her part, Nishioka's girlfriend doesn't even really react to that last part, the fact that she's so beautiful and got her stuff together. And it looks like Nishioka's kind of miffed, but she knows how much he loves her and vice versa. And so you don't need that. You don't need that like playful jabbing or anything like that. He was setting her up and she didn't take the bait. So he goes and takes a bath. And then when he comes in, he mocks her. Oh, looking ugly as always, and she's like, oh, shut up. And I love their relationship. It's so soft spoken. It doesn't have to be overly melodramatic. They are so much in love with each other. They are so much, in concern and care for each other. And they hold each other in bed, and it's like everything is right with the world as far as Nishioka is concerned. And it feels that way. And the other moment is, of course, the rooftop moment between Nishioka and Majime, where they really, express their souls to each other. Majime is utmost worried about losing Nishioka, what he brings to the table, not only the sort of advisory aspects that, he's somebody that Majime can turn to when he needs advice, but also his perspective, the idea of that whole definition about wandering and being sort of a nomad, having a nomadic existence, traveling Japan, and how the word, it gives it a sense of adventure depending on what they choose to focus on in the Great Passage Dictionary to actually, write about it, to portray it as. And Majime is just wowed by this outlook of Nishioka's. It is both objective but filled with personality, unlike the Mr. Oda guy, who it's all personality and poetry and perspective, personalization, which a dictionary is not supposed to be, but it is supposed to have personality because words and dialogue and language are be filled with personality. These are the ways we communicate, other than the notes of music, language, and words. It can be considered somewhat similar, even though there is a grand divide in multilingual, societies that speak different languages and things like that. There are ways to bridge those gaps. And I love the appreciation Nishioka has found for this work, to the point where on that rooftop, when Majime has bared his soul and completely revealed how worried he is, how tantamount he feels Nishioka is to this cause, that if they lose him, if he's no longer going to bring his own unique perspective to things, the Great Passage, it almost might as well not even be created without Nishioka's input. And I love Nishioka for his turning to Majime and saying, look, even if I'm far away, I'm not gone. I'm not leaving you. I'm not going to be unsupportive of you. I'm still going to be there for you. I still have your back. I still have the backs of everyone working on this project. You don't need to worry. Even if you are fearful of being there without my guidance, you still have the shoulders to fall on of everyone else as well. But just because I'm, another building over, I'm another office over, whatever it is, however further away physically he is, he's not going away. He's not going to leave Majime hanging as a brother, as a friend, as someone he admires, and all these things. And it was such a beautiful, beautiful moment. And again, this might be my favorite episode. I think I said that about the previous episode, where finally we had the confrontation come to a head between Majime and Kaguya. I loved they're finally finding common ground, sharing that they both feel the same way about each other. But this even more so, whereas we had elements in that previous episode of being uncertain and being scared, it might go down a dark path. It might not play out how we hope. This entire episode was, for the most part, affirming. Just absolutely, it was a feel-good episode. I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed it. I love these characters. I love their interactions. I love how much they feel for each other and have concern for and love for each other. And it's just, it's miraculous. I only wish relationships in the world were this easy and were this, sort of free going, if you will. Were this manageable and this supportive and trustworthy and all that kind of stuff. It's just so sweet and so beautiful. And so I can't wait to see where we go from here. Otherwise, it'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.